This is our first up student story session where we get a chance to chat with some first generation students, UCalgary students, about their experience coming to post secondary. So, I'm Marianne Howell. I'm the coordinator for the First Generation Students Program, and we will get to our panelists in a second, but I want to give Vanessa space to introduce herself.
Perfect. Thank you. So, hi everyone. My name is Vanessa, and I work as a community engagement recruitment specialist with the undergraduate recruitment team at UCalgary. And so, within my role specifically, I work closely to support first generation students that are exploring post secondary options and are sort of wanting to learn more about the application and admissions process. So, I know that you're all a few years away from formally applying, but if you did want to jumpstart the process of learning more about our programs, pathways, and supports that we have to offer, then I would love to connect with you all to discuss your journeys to post secondary. And so, yeah, I'll pass it back to Marianne to talk more about the First Generation Students Program on campus, but I will also have my contact information at the end of the session.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. Yeah, so First Generation Students Program is a new initiative at the University of Calgary. We get to pull together mentors, upper year and incoming first gen students, um, events, crafting, um, community engagement, and things like that, alongside academic supports, well-being supports, and exploratory advising for first-generation students. So what we have here today are some lovely panelists from our mentorship program. Some of them were part of the program as mentees last year, and have returned as mentors, and they all just expressed that they would love to share a little bit more about what their journey has been like as first generation students. So before we get to introducing our panelists, I just want to acknowledge and pay tribute to the fact that the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7 is where the University of Calgary is located. So in that heart of southern Alberta. This includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. And so, to give you a little bit of an overview of what we have planned for you today, we have a couple of low stakes audience participation where we just want to hear from you about your experience and what you're kind of interested in hearing about today. So we have a couple of mentee polls for you to chime in a minute. Then we are going to take a little time to get to know our panelists. We've got a few kind of core questions that we wanted to ask the panelists, and then we want to open it up for you all to ask your questions to this group of students. Finally, we'll wrap up the session with just another little opportunity for audience engagement. And then, as Vanessa mentioned, there's some ways to keep in touch with us. There's some ways to continue to connect with UCalgary programming if you're interested in learning a little bit more. So, going to switch my slide here. And I will open up the Menti poll in a second. But if you want to go to menti.com and put in the code 24038420, we want to know what words come to mind when you think about university. So, what words come to mind when you think about university? Oh, and the code has changed itself. So, my bad, it's 38078228. Leave a little space here for people to pop some answers in. Okay, and so if folks are new to Menti, the more a response is put up there, the bigger the word is going to be. So right now we're seeing learning, freedom, and experience pretty big here on the screen, and we're getting some likes so that we know, yeah, we know this is giving uh, resonating with some folks perhaps. I'm going to give a little bit more time here to see if anyone else has anything more to add. Yeah, learning, freedom, education, experience. I like that idea of experience because I feel like it really encompasses the whole like variety of the student experience. And I've chatted with all the panelists today, and I feel like they really do speak to sort of like both the academic and sort of like the social and engagement and physical aspects of university. So it really is, it's an experience in itself, right? We're seeing advancement, and sort of, yeah, that idea of kind of going to the next step. Finances is a huge one, right? And we know that's top of mind for anyone who's thinking about going to university. And then I love to see adulting here on the screen. So this all looks really great. And it's just awesome for us to sort of see sort of the topics that you're considering when you're thinking about university and those factors. So definitely looking forward to hearing some of your questions later on in the session. Now it is finally time to meet the panelists. So panelists, I'm going to pull up your slides, and if you want to just introduce yourself, speak a little bit to the content that you have on the slides, and let us know a little bit more about who you are. So first up, I have Ava. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Ava. I'm a fourth year nursing student here at the University of Calgary, and I'm also Indigenous to North America. So, I'm a mix of Korean English. And yeah, and then on the slide here, I just put some of my hobbies. So, I love beading, being Indigenous. That's something that my mom taught me. And then I love my cats. I have one right beside me. Um, and then, of course, exploring interests for outfit inspiration. I love fashion, I love cooking, everything as that. And then, just a little bit about my experience with post-secondary as a first-generation student. It was definitely overwhelming, and it was, such a big obstacle. It was something that you have to navigate, and it was very confusing, so it was definitely overwhelming. Of course, the campus itself is really big, so it's hard to find the buildings. And then at UCalgary, I've been involved in various ways. So in my first and second year, I was the Vice President Indigenous Initiatives for the Undergraduate Nursing Society. And then the past 2 summers, I worked at the School of Medicine for the Indigenous Health Program, just helped the office with their initiatives, really, a lot of social media work. And then also right now, I'm currently part of Otapaminskan, also known as the Indigenous Youth Leadership Program, where we go to schools, kind of teach like leadership skills. And then lastly, I am a volunteer for the First Generation Mentorship Program.
That's amazing to me. Like you have a busy program and you fit in a lot of involvement around that. So that really helps to again speak to that experience aspect of university.
For sure. Thank
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so next we've got Naya. I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit here.
Hi everyone, my name is Naya. I am a third year biomedical sciences student. Um, my impression of campus when I first arrived, that was in the middle of my grade 12 year. That was the first time I saw the U of C campus. I noticed that it's very studious, but very relaxed at the same time. You have a lot of room to do whatever you want, really. You want to go on a run, you can. You want to study, you can. And I also noticed that there's a lot of study spots with very nice views, which is very important to me. I'm the type of person that if I don't have a view, I won't be studying. So yeah. My hobbies involve exercising and dancing. I love Pilates and I love running. And I've also I was a dancer for a big part of my life. I also really enjoy creative writing and reading. I like sourcing inspiration from the books that I read and then incorporating that inspo within my writing. I'm involved in various activities at the University of Calgary, one of which is being a student researcher at the Matheson Center for Mental Health. I study the overlap between anorexia nervosa and obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm also involved in various advocacy groups, such as I'm not sure if you've heard of us, but we were on the news very recently. Save. It's to pretty much to end the vaping epidemic among youth. Also, Rise for Health and Wellness, which is aimed at educating youth about health and raising their health literacy. I'm also a senior buddy for the biomedical sciences program, so I pretty much mentor a first year Bachelor of Health Sciences student, and I'm a volunteer for First Generation Mentorship.
So great always to hear about those different mentorship opportunities and how you can like I feel like the real cheat sheet to university is when you can connect with some older students and kind of get the inside scoop about what works. And so it's always great to see just that engagement in those mentorship pieces there. How about Miguel? Tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, my name is Miguel. So I have a combined degree, so I'm studying both biological science and archaeology. Um, yeah, so around campus, I do a lot of volunteering stuff. So I'm part of a couple clubs. I like to where am I going? I'm part of a club called Food Justice Now, who helps address like food insecurity on campus among students. I volunteered for Canadian Blood Services before. I do a lot of volunteering for the mustard seat. So there's a club for at the university that kind of gets you connected with all the volunteer opportunities for mustard seed. More recently, I helped out with open house. That was a lot of fun, and I'm planning to try and start working on campus tours. So if you sign up for a campus tour, you might see me. And then obviously, yeah, I'm first generation mentor.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think you had some cool pictures, I think, to share too.
Yeah. Um, my first impressions of campus, I was like the other panelists, I was very overwhelmed by its size, but I have a bit of wanderlust, so I definitely enjoyed kind of like between classes, like getting wandering off a little bit, finding special little places. I find there are a lot of fun nooks to explore around campus. I was also surprised by the massive lecture hall. Like they can fit literally like hundreds of students in there. It's crazy. I was trying to find a seat in the first few days kind of sucked. And I was definitely nervous to talk to people because I was super intimidated by every individual around me at the university. But over time, it got a lot better. I found that approaching people became a lot more manageable. And I didn't include this here for some reason, but I do a lot of research um stuff at the university. So the main two ones I highlighted here was I worked in the paleontology lab. So it's the top right or the image on the right. So I would basically sort through sediment to find fossils of like little mammal teeth. It was fun. And then I also help sort through camera footage of a Costa Rican researcher that studies like food finding and foraging amongst wildlife. So that right there is an agouti. I think they're super cute. um and yeah, my hobbies, I'm a freelance digital artist. I make a little bit of money on the side doing that. And I also love Dungeons and Dragons. I will talk about that game for hours.
Amazing. Yeah, that really resonates with me is that like finding those hidden gems on campus, just being like, how did I get here? And this is like a weird little room with like a cute plant in it or something like that. There's so much to find on campus. And yeah, really great appreciation for this, I'm assuming rodent here on the screen. Thanks for that, Miguel. And then we've got Xander.
Yeah, my name is Xander. I'm a second year currently in Arts Undeclared. I am focusing heavily on psychology-based courses, and I'm planning to apply to psychology in the near future. I have been involved on the UCalgary campus in multiple ways, most notably with this First-Gen Mentorship Club. I started last year as a mentee, actually, and had an amazing mentor. And then, yeah, decided to give back to the program this year as a mentor myself. There is, of course, the board game club where plenty of people play Dungeons and Dragons, as I'm sure Miguel knows. And then there's the Best Buddies program where we pair students up with elderly folks with developmental disabilities that may not speak or just communicate as well as some other people in our society. And we just pair them in either groups or pairs and make sure to give them events that they can go do and just basically be friends, like hang out, go watch a movie, go play board games or something with them. And then I am pretty sporty myself, so I am part of the Ultimate Frisbee Club that includes students from MRU, SAIT, and UCalgary. And then my hobbies are board games, reading, hiking, baseball, badminton, and several other sports.
Awesome. Thanks, Sander. Yeah, it was so fun getting everyone's pictures to put into this slideshow because I feel like, yeah, the things that we choose really speak a lot to kind of just like who we are and what we value and what we kind of want to showcase as our experience. And I'm jealous that you got to see the Northern Lights because I can never see them from my neighborhood. I don't know if I need a better phone or move somewhere else, but awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on to kind of the sort of the main segment of the session here. I'm going to stop sharing the slides just because maybe it's nicer to be able to see the panelists' faces a little bit more clearly here. But we're going to start with our panel questions. So, just fighting with my screen a little bit here. So, my first question for the group is what made you decide to pursue university? And let's start with Naya.
Okay. So I am a first-generation immigrant. Everyone in my family, extended and immediate, went to university, but it was in another country. So growing up and seeing that everyone in my family has pursued a secondary education or post-secondary education, and then attended university kind of influenced my choice into pursuing university and higher education, because I don't know what life is like without a university degree. I was just never exposed to it. So that's kind of what motivated me the most into going to university and pursuing a university degree. Also in high school, through my participation in the IB program and through just being a high school student, I discovered that I have a passion for studying and that I truly enjoy studying and exploring complex concepts that are only really explored in senior undergraduate classes or even post-secondary education. No, not post-secondary, sorry. Postgraduate education. So I see undergraduate education kind of as a step that I must go through to fulfill my passion for exploring such topics and being an active voice in conversations surrounding those topics. Yeah.
Thanks for that. How about you, Miguel? What made you decide to pursue university?
Yeah, so I always saw university as like this gateway because everyone in my life at least talked it up to be this like sort of mystical thing that you go to if you want to have a good career. So that was kind of my driving motivator for a good while, but um, I kind of realized that university was probably the route for me because I'm a massive nerd. I love learning about things. I love especially getting like hands-on experience with the stuff that I'm interested in. So obviously I like biology. And I was super attracted to the idea of like doing lab work, doing research at the university. So getting all those like hands-on experiences, doing stuff for yourself, and also just like learning more advanced concepts in the fields that you're interested in. You get to definitely explore all of like your little strings of curiosity a lot in university, and yeah, that was my main motivator.
Yeah, I love the space for curiosity to just kind of go down some rabbit holes of like, ooh, like I could study this very obscure fact and put in a paper about that. And I think back to my own undergrad experience, and yeah, just how fun it was to just pick a really obscure paper topic and just go down that rabbit hole. Amazing. How about you, Xander? What made you decide to pursue university?
So yeah, I'm currently a youth baseball coach, and to progress into coaching in a professional setting, you definitely need to get your certification, and it is considered an asset to have a university degree in some sort of sports related concept, whether that be kines or sports psych, which I'm hoping to get into with my major in psych and hopefully a minor in kines. But yeah, and then that just like a lot of people says, it seems like the easiest, most straightforward way forward to get a good career and hopefully set yourself up for a great life.
Awesome. Yeah, and Ava, I know you and I had some interesting chats about kind of what made you decide to pursue university.
Yeah, so originally choosing to do post-secondary, I didn't put much thought in it. I kind of just did it. It was definitely encouraged by my family. But that's definitely something like if I had to redo it, I would definitely do more self-reflection and kind of consider the areas of my life that I've excelled in, as well as gain experience and understand what I would enjoy doing. But yeah, I ended up choosing nursing, something I was slightly interested in at the time. So I would say my relationship with school during high school wasn't the best. School was difficult. So I wanted to do something that I can kind of have more of a niche in, like I could learn more about something that I was interested in. So health was that for me. So choosing post-secondary, it was just kind of exploring that curiosity. And then of course, like as many others said, just that family encouragement, seeing it as a way into a good career, which I can agree with at sometimes, but yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that experience of sort of trying something and deciding like, yes, this is a fit, and kind of that nursing was that for you, is really great to hear. And I think kind of nice to know too that there is a little bit of breathing room too, of like you don't necessarily have to know exactly what you want to do going into it, but that you can kind of find something that really clicks with you while you're doing your studies here. Awesome. So thank you for those responses. I'm going to pick on Xander again. What's been your most meaningful experience at UCalgary?
Definitely the amount of welcoming people that you find just joining clubs or even just going to class. Like almost everyone you meet or talk to is willing to have a chat, like make new friends. Like it's definitely a lot more welcoming than say high school where everyone's kind of already set in their groups and their cliques. And yeah, like here you can walk up to a complete stranger and 2 hours later be best friends with them. But yeah, I definitely say I'd appreciate how easily it is to join new groups and new clubs and new teams and just fit in easily. And yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you and I were chatting today and just that you're a social person and you're looking to like, I don't know, talk to people and learn from people. And I feel like your extracurriculars really speak to that for sure. How about you, Ava? What was your most meaningful experience here?
So far, I would say my most meaningful experience is definitely the people I've met. Being in university, you're kind of like forced with a certain group of people. At least I was in my program. And so being forced with those people, I really built those bonds, especially, because the career I chose, um, a lot of people don't experience the same things that we do. So we kind of bonded together and we built those really special connections. So that was definitely um, really cool for me so far in my experience. But then also on top of that, I would mention the opportunities that have opened to me in university. I don't think that I would have been able to access as many resources as I have and even do as many of the options that I did, or like as I was mentioning, the things I'm involved in with U of C. And in doing so, I've come to understand my identity, who I am more, as well as build on the strengths that I previously did not feel. For example, like public speaking, and then here today, like this is definitely something that I'm continuing to build on. And as an anxious person, this is something I would have never expected out of myself to do. So building on those skills for sure.
That's so amazing. And yeah, as a fellow, someone who is not a huge fan of public speaking, I think, yeah, the opportunities to practice and kind of take that on campus it's great. Yeah, so Naya, how about you? Most meaningful experience at UCalgary?
Like when you're in high school and you're thinking about pursuing university, there's always a vision that you have of what your life would look like in university. And honestly, my experience in university has been that and more, but it's also nothing like I imagined it to be. Being at university has been a journey, and I have really loved every second of it. Even those nights where I'm cramming at TFDL at night for an exam in the morning. Those I've enjoyed that too. If you pay close enough attention, every day that I get to spend here is a meaningful experience for me. Just because I truly love what I'm doing. I truly love being a university student, and I never want to leave. But I know I'm gonna have to soon. The most I would say the most meaningful experience for me, or the most meaningful part of university, has been meeting people that share a mindset and share the same, or actually respect the perspectives that I hold. As a first generation immigrant that kind of half grew up here, half grew up back home in Syria, I kind of have a hybrid identity where both of my cultures have been combined. I'm half Canadian, half Syrian. So it is a little bit hard to, it was very hard for me to find people to belong with and to fit in with um, in high school and middle school. And I felt that at university, at U of C, I've been able to connect with a lot of people that have shared similar experiences to me, as well as people that respect me and see me for who I am and respect that identity that I bring to the table, rather than trying to make me fit into a mold that I just won't fit into. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, really hearing these like meaningful social connections coming up here. How about you, Miguel? What was the standout experience for you at UCalgary?
Yeah, we're going on the meaningful relationship train. I was very um I felt isolated in high school. I am not at least historically, like not a social person. I absolutely despise talking to people. But a great thing about, going into like a certain degree or something is because you're inevitably going to meet people who are nerds in exactly the same way that you are. They are going to be interested and fascinated in the same things that you are, and you can share in that passion because if they're willing to pay money to take that class, then chances are they probably really like it, probably as much as you do. Um, I think the most surprising and also most meaningful thing that happened to me is getting to know my professors. Um, they are very intimidating because they stand in front of these big lecture halls and they talk to all these students and they sound like experts and they know everything. You go down to them and you talk to them, and I found they're all nerds. They all love yapping about what they've studied. They all have such a passionate interest in what in their area of study, and like I've found a lot of connection with these people, and it's great to see like the insight that they can provide and even just like that connection. It's something that I did not expect that was going to happen.
Yeah, that's I really hear that. I was talking to Sander about that today, actually. My own experience. I did both my degrees at UCalgary. My biggest regret was how afraid I was to talk to professors and how like, really helpful and enriching it is to have those conversations with people who are such experts in the field that you're interested in is so valuable. So great. We got some meaningful experiences that are standing out for us here. My last kind of core question right now, and who do I pick on? Let's pick on Ava. What do you wish you had known about university when you were in grade 9 or 10?
Um, I think what I wish I would have known at that time was the process of choosing a career or like what goes into it, like already looking into what programs, the grade you need, what the courses you need. I think knowing that can really set you up for success, for reaching the goals that you want to reach. So just being aware, honestly, like in my first year, looking back and researching scholarships, there were so many scholarships that I could have applied for, upon entering university, but because I didn't know of them until my second year, I missed out on a few of those opportunities. So it's really just about getting yourself exposed to what's out there, and also like doing some learning in your of yourself, like reflecting on, like I said, the qualities of yourself, who you are, the values you hold, and then reaching out to the supports you have, whether that's in your high school or middle school, whether that's to career counselors and such. So it's really just about starting to navigate the resources now and starting to think about it right away, because I think that gives you more time to choose something that is meaningful to you.
Yeah, that's really interesting too, because we think about like, there's a lot of structure to high school and junior high. And I feel like university is kind of that first like the choice is yours kind of moment, which can be really exciting. I think as we saw in our Menti poll, but also intimidating. And so it sounds like you're really advocating. It's like do that self-reflection, and like lean on your network of people, lean on your resources, ask questions to help, to kind of navigate through some of that discomfort of going from the very structured to the less structured university environment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
also sorry, like not being perfect about it too. Like if you think you want to do something and you end up choosing it and it doesn't work out, like it's not a big deal. You can always switch. So it's just about doing that reflection work and trying new things. And if you don't like it, that's okay too.
Yeah, yeah, you learn a lot about yourself, I think is what's kind of been shining through in the responses you guys have had tonight. How about you, Naya? What do you wish you had known in grade 9 or 10 about university?
I would echo what Eva said about just being more aware of the process of going to university. And as someone who doesn't come from, I'm not like financially, I'm independent, and it's been a journey and a half. So just knowing about the scholarships that are available and actually being applying to them would have helped me a lot. However, I didn't really pay that much of close attention to that aspect of university when I should have in grade 10. Also, I would have liked to know that the habits that I formed back then will carry through and will be very hard to break in university if they're unhealthy, or like whatever habits you form at that age will carry through to university. So I feel like there was a lot of room for developing habits that maybe would have helped me a lot, as like with my course load, with managing stress, with balancing extracurriculars and academic life and then personal life. It's just, yeah, it would have been helpful to know that. Also, one last thing is that I would think that little Naya would have liked to know this. Um, you know, I wish I knew how special my story and my path is rather than like trying to copy someone else's. And that goes into what Eva said about like reflecting on your qualities and the kind of life that you want to lead and kind of career that you want, rather than just like seeing someone that I think is successful and then trying to copy everything that they did. Because at the end of the day, your path is your path and you're going to live it whether you like it or not. It's just, why not like sit there, reflect, and figure out ways to enjoy it and invest in it rather than investing in something that isn't yours or that isn't really you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hearing a lot of like authenticity coming through there, right? It's just like being your authentic self at university. And I'm thinking, both with Ava and Naya here, you've both mentioned those scholarship pieces. Definitely, there's lots of room to explore funding. I know finances was one of the pieces that came up on our mentee poll because it is, a big kind of piece of that post-secondary puzzle. The university does currently right now have a first generation student bursary or award. So this is a $2,500 award for incoming first generation students. So please do, if you're thinking about UCalgary and if you're getting close to applying, please do some of that investigation about scholarships that you might be eligible for, because, I think, yeah, as Ava was saying, sometimes there's stuff that you don't realize you would have been a fit for, and you definitely would have been. So yeah. How about you, Miguel? What do you wish you had known in grade 9 or 10?
Um, I would have wished to known that like university is not just a dream. Um, for me, it was the prospect was realistically not on my mind in grade 9 or 10 because my family didn't have a lot of money. I just assumed that it's just not something that was up for consideration growing up. But it is definitely possible. It is difficult to fund a degree. It's a lot of work. It it takes a lot of dedication and it's not easy. But I would have loved to know that it was definitely within my within the possibility of something that I could achieve. It was perfectly not perfectly doable, but it wasn't some fantasy that I had, some dream that was never going to come true. It was something that if I put my heart to it, I could have and did do. So like the scholarship piece you said, I got from the University of Calgary, I got the entrance award for the President's Admission Award, that's what it's called. And I applied for so many scholarships coming out of grade 12, and like there are some that are super specific that like are definitely stuff that you can apply for if you look for it. So I got the Fraser Lockwood scholarship, which is specifically for Filipino Canadians. So yeah, I guess at the same time, ironically, there's also a bit of perfectionism that comes with it. I'm Asian. Parents either want you to go into medicine or engineering. That's kind of the expectation. So you kind of have this perfectionism going into it. It's like if I don't do it exactly how I envision it, then it's not going to be worth it at all, and it's been the complete opposite. I have definitely had a bit of a wandering mind in the sense that like I just kind of once I got into university, I was able to more thoroughly understand like what I actually wanted, like me as myself, and not the expectation that I had constructed for myself. Um, I just encourage my younger self to not worry so much about exactly where my life was going to go because I lost many, many hours of sleep um worrying about what was going to happen to me in the future. When even if it did not go exactly the way I planned, it's not the end. It is never the end.
Yeah, that's always a trap, right? Is when we're worrying about stuff that like has not happened yet, may never happen, right? And we get caught in that spiral sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice to share for your younger self. And then what about you, Xander? What do you wish you had known?
Yeah, I definitely wish that as a student here in Alberta, the biggest rhetoric from teachers all through middle and high school was that professors were going to be so strict and so hard on you, and that all the messing around you did in middle school and high school was not going to fly. That is like completely false in my experience. Professors are human. They understand you make mistakes. Like you have stuff going on, whether it be family stuff or just life stuff, mental health stuff in general. Don't be afraid to talk to them. They almost always will understand and will be able to help you out. They want to see you succeed just as much as your high school teachers do. Um, I also wish that I knew that it wasn't such a big deal to miss a class here or there, because I know that was something that last year stressed me out so much if I missed like a single class. But a lot of the notes for most courses I take get posted online anyways. You can always watch the lecture if it was recorded, or there's the slides that you can go through yourself. You'll have friends that will take notes for you. It is okay to miss a class here or there. And then, yeah, I think that's about.
Awesome. Okay, so that's the end of our prepared questions here. I want to open it up to the audience here. So I believe you should be able to ask a question through the chat if you like, or there is, if you hover your mouse over the bottom of the screen, you should see a little Q&A button if you have a question to ask the panelists. I think while we're letting people type, I am going to throw a little question out here, maybe a bit of a surprise question. Miguel, was there anything that surprised you at university?
Hmm. Guess like I think that shocked me was the lack of hand-holding throughout everything. Again, like going into it, I was a very diligent high school student. I always like I loved my structured classes. I love my scheduled things. I love knowing like when a test is gonna be, when the teachers remind you about stuff. So when you get into university and they kind of like spring all of this autonomy onto you, it can be a little overwhelming because you can either I found myself either overdoing it and studying way too much, getting so stressed out about my schedule and like the structure of my semester, or on the flip side, completely forgetting all of the important due dates that I have, just completely dropping them from my mind and chilling way too much. So, it's definitely part of the learning curve, I'd say, of university. It's a different experience from high school. And I wish that they prepared you more for it, really. Um, it's something that you have to learn to manage. You have to figure out like what your own limits are for work, because you need to be able to set like a all right, I'm done. I'm gassed for today. I gotta go to sleep or something like that. So learning like how much work you can tolerate, how much work you should put into a course, what work you should be doing, all of that is stuff that I didn't think that I would have to focus on, but I definitely did.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting too because even positive transitions can be a lot. Like I've definitely am talking to a lot of first year students at this time of year. So maybe I'm actually going to throw a random question to Xander because you had a mentor last year. What was it like to have a mentor to kind of check in with when you had some of those questions or experiences about that kind of first year life?
I really enjoyed having the mentor because I would have like the most random questions and have absolutely zero clue how to find the answer to. So that's kind of how my mentoring relationship went, was that I would just have a random question and like I'd check the UCalgary website, and our website is terrible. It's impossible to find anything unless you know exactly where you're going for it. So yeah, I would just send a text message to her really quick, and she'd have an answer for me like within half an hour to a couple hours. Even if she needed to ask others for help, she had the answer for me within the same day, and it was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, love that university website navigation is a bit of a learning curve for sure. Um, and so Ava, you talked a lot about kind of that nursing community that you're a part of, right? And kind of how that like cohort moves together. Can you say a little bit more about kind of what your community looks like and a little bit more about that connection you have with the university?
For sure. So I just feel like my experience in nursing, the connections I've built have been so powerful because we have similar experiences that, like I said, like I don't feel like a lot of other degrees have. I don't like, for example, we are put in a lot of uncomfortable situations. We see a lot of things And so having that person to talk to is really important. And the connections I've made, I don't want to say trauma bond, but because that's not the right word, but in a way, we've had the same experiences. And so that connection to the person is so strong. And I'm definitely have created lifelong friends, I'm guessing, I'm hoping, from my second year of university, being forced in like working in a group of 8 in a cohort, at least in my program. And working in those groups for a term really built that connection. And now I can talk to them about anything, and having that peer support, especially in a program such as nursing, where at times it's definitely difficult, it's definitely stressful, is really important. And just having someone to talk through your day and having someone who actually understands what you're going through has really helped me in my program.
Yeah, it's those shared experiences, and I think someone else had mentioned that when we were sort of prepping for the panel too, is just to be able to talk about, what university life is like with like someone who has also been through it or is going through it alongside you. I think it is just so validating, right? Yeah. Um, Naya, I feel like you had a really interesting answer when we were talking about sort of just how like interest in career and family expectation influenced your choice of major. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, like I said, I was always expected. I always knew and I was expected to do something related to university because that's all I know when it comes to being an adult. But I did have the freedom of choosing what exactly I wanted to do. Now that I think about it, it might have been forced on me indirectly and like through like manipulation when I was younger, but still, I really do enjoy what I'm doing. Anyways, so I was fortunate enough to have a mom. My mom was very, very attentive when I was growing up. She paid a lot of close attention to like what I enjoyed doing, to my skills and talents. And then she really honed in on those and urged me to invest in them. So, for example, if she saw that I'm interested in writing, she would buy me journals and like cute pens and notebooks and like would urge me to write. And one of the things that she developed in me was an insatiable curiosity. I'm a very curious person. I really like knowing everything. I want answers. I like asking a lot of questions. And like, I really do enjoy the path of finding an answer. Um, and also that combined with a love for human biology and physiology kind of led me towards biomedical sciences at the University of Calgary. The biomed program here it's structured in a way that is very research intensive. So it is like in the upper courses, we get to explore questions that haven't been answered yet. We get to design research projects and actually be that person that finds like, I'm not going to say the cure, but finds an answer to a very, very niche question or a very niche topic that we're interested in. Yeah, so that's kind of what led me towards biomedical sciences also. And this is not necessarily a good thing, but like I said, I'm a first generation immigrant and I came to Canada. I didn't really know English. And then a family member that lived here looked at me and said, "You probably won't get into university here, so maybe you need to look at backup options." I don't really like being told what I can and can't do. So I'm a very, very competitive person like that. So that kind of urged me to pursue a hard major and like try my absolute best to do well in it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much for that. I love just the curiosity and inquisitiveness that kind of shines through when I talk to you for. Like we've had a few conversations kind of prepping for this panel, and just like you're just a really driven, inquisitive bunch. And I think like that's kind of where I think we find that joy in learning is just kind of that desire to like find an answer or find something new or try something different or connect with people. And so yeah, so grateful to you all for kind of what you've shared about what that first gen experience has been like. Looking at our chat and looking at our Q&A, I'm not seeing anything. I just want to maybe make some space for Vanessa to see if you have anything to add here. And then otherwise, I will pull up kind of our uh, reflection question and then some more information about how you can connect with Vanessa. So Vanessa, if you want to just defer to kind of when we get to your slides, or if you have anything extra to kind of add here, let me know.
Perfect. Yeah, all I really have to add is just the slides that we have on future events as well as my contact, but nothing additional on other than those.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to try one more time with some mentee engagement here if we're feeling up for a little passive engagement on a Wednesday evening here. I totally get that. Can you let us know one thing you learned about in today's session? What one takeaway you have from this session is today? So I'm gonna be quiet while people type. I always lament that I wish I could see the little dots of people typing so I could know, but I'm gonna give a little quiet space here for people to put in some responses. Drink from my UCalgary cup. Love that. So seeking out good study spots with views. Does anyone have a favorite spot on campus?
I don't
Or
know
is
if
it a
anyone
secret you
knows
don't
where
want to
the
give it away?
atrium is, but I love the atrium.
It's
It's the room
closed
with.
until December.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm so upset with that right now. But a few other good spots is if you live on campus, the dorm rooms actually have like a little study spot in the middle on every level, so that's really nice.
Are you in Cascade?
Yes.
That looks like a Cascade room.
I echo the atrium because it's amazing. There also used to be two atriums. If you ever go to Science B, that used to be an atrium, that part in the middle there. There's a little plaque about it.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I
Ancient
really
Regina,
love.
were you going to say? Oh, sorry. I'm
Oh
going to
no,
stop talking
sorry.
so people
Like
can actually respond.
my favorite, like 6 p.m. very top of engineering. Those benches there, I've had some magical moments up there.
As someone who likes to be active in the Knies building, we have the standing desks where you can like turn on the treadmill and you can walk or even just stand at some of the desks, and I find that really helpful because sitting for a long time studying in one position can be painful and boring.
I would like to add the law library is a great place because it's giving that academia environment and it's very Gilmore Girls-esque. So I like going there too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are we missing? Naya, did you share your secret study spot or are you kind of keeping them close
Mine
to
isn't
your
on this campus. It's like if
Oh,
you're ever on the other campus, upstairs where like the hospital connects to the university, the one at U of C. I'm not sharing that one. I can barely find a spot to study.
I feel like that's the nice thing is like we find our spots, our go-to spots, and just kind of have that good mix of like quiet and view and scenery and good seating. Yeah, amazing.
Another one,
Okay, so
sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Another one I really like is in the theater room. There's the room with the giant staircase in the middle that has like study spots all around it, and I just love like the environment there and how peaceful it always is.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, I think you all kind of spoke to just how big campus is and how like that's overwhelming. But then in that process, you find all these little hidden gems on campus, which is pretty great. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Vanessa.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, on this slide, we just wanted to highlight some exciting events that will be upcoming for prospective undergraduate students. So we do have a full list of upcoming events on our future student events page, which is that QR code that you can scan at the bottom of the page or just by following the link there. But one that I did really want to highlight is our advising day events. So in November, we do have two going on, which is on the 8th and the 29th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. just on our main UCalgary campus. But at this event, we do have things relating to drop-in advising, general campus tours running, and we will also have a faculty-specific tour that is being hosted by the Faculty of Science for anyone that's interested within any of our Bachelor of Science programs. There's also lots of informational sessions at this event relating to admissions, awards, and we do also have an Ask a Student panel if you wanted to hear from more students on campus. And so if you did want to attend this event or explore any of our future events, then I would encourage you to register through the QR code or through the link listed here. Yeah, and on this slide here, you can just find my contact information. So my email is just on the top right corner. So if anyone had any questions after the webinar relating to anything from our programs that we have to offer, pathways to university, our supports, or any awards questions, then I'm happy to answer those for you. And then below my email address, these are all of our social media handles. So we do a lot of exciting things on our social media page. pages. So for example, we'll have students take over our Instagram account to show you a day in their life as a student in different programs. And we also have a Choose UCalgary podcast for you to hear more from current students, faculty members, and student service representatives as well. So if you are interested in learning more about UCalgary, then I would encourage you to stay connected with the student recruitment team through our social media handles or by connecting directly with me.
Awesome. And I think we had, if you are a grade 9 or 10 student who is the first in your family or would be the first in your family to pursue post-secondary, Vanessa's team and my team are collaborating for an event in May. This is an on-campus event. So you heard the panelists tell you about cool study spots, and this is your opportunity to come and find them and scope them out, and learn a little bit more about UCalgary and what that experience looks like in the meantime there. So please do feel free to scan the QR code and save the date for next May the 9th for a on-campus event here at UCalgary to kind of find your spot. Yeah, and then finally, you can learn more about first generation programs through our website, we're ucalgary.ca. SSC, first generation students. So we're part of an office that supports with all kinds of learning and skill development. We have a writing support center so that you can learn about those university citations. We have academic support, one-on-one kind of time management, study skills, kind of tailoring your learning toolkit when you get to university. We've got all kinds of workshops and exploratory advising as well. So definitely lots of support, lots of resources, lots of people to ask those questions to on campus. And so yeah, starting with Vanessa and then knowing that once you get here, there's still lots of people to kind of support you as you continue moving forward in your journey. All right, we did it. We got to the end of our panel here. Huge thank you to Xander, Naya, Ava, and Miguel for not only like meeting with me and practicing for this panel, but also being here tonight in the evening time when you could be studying or having fun. So super appreciate you guys sharing your stories and just being so like candid and sincere about all the experiences that you've had to share here at UCalgary. And huge thanks to Vanessa as well for orchestrating all of this and also being here. Well, I know you're like traveling right now too, so super appreciate just the fact that everyone was able to come together to kind of share stories today. Okay, I guess is there anything else from you, Vanessa, or?
No, that was everything on my end. So
Okay.
yeah, I guess we could just end the webinar here and thank you everyone for the amazing session.